Andres from AA Sports back with more Mexico national football team news as I cover their games this summer. In this video, I'll be giving my post-game thoughts and reactions to the Mexico women's team's tie result in Canada this week. The Mexican women's team tied 1-1 in their second game of a two-game series against Canada on Tuesday. This was a tougher game that saw different players, and Mexico played against a stronger and more aggressive offense compared to the first game in Montreal. And man, they survived. That's really the best way to describe it. This was a game that saw them get completely outplayed in the midfield. Diana Ordóñez had another borderline non-existent performance on the offensive front. While she has not been in good form for the national team, I'll give her some slack in this game and note that they couldn't provide good passes or services to her at all in this game. So not really her fault, because the midfield struggled to pass or maintain ball possession for, I don't know, at least 2 seconds. And I would argue the midfield was the big weakness and why this game was such a struggle for Mexico. They were unable to maintain ball possession, poor passing, and on the other end, they were prone to offensive pushes forward by the Canadians. They were completely physically and technically outplayed in this game. This forced them to play completely defensive for most of the game, and Mexico only had 38% ball possession in this game. A really little possession. What saved Mexico in this game were two things. First, Lisbeth Ovalle, being arguably the best player on the team, capitalized on Canada's complacent defense that has struggled in terms of form recently and scored an absolute golazo. The second was the defense. The defense held up phenomenally in this game, making more clearances and 78% of tackles won. At the end, the defense was starting to get tired near the end of the game, and that led to fouls being committed, including one where Karen Luna could have been given a red card and sent off. But in the end, the defense held up and were able to keep Canada scoreless in the first half and keep the scoreboard tied in the last minutes until the final whistle blew. With that, the Mexico women's national team tied 1-1 in Toronto in their final game of a two-game series versus Canada. Here are their grades for this performance. Goalkeeper, B. Estefany Barreras was the goalkeeper for Mexico today. She had 2 saves in this game, including 1 save on a corner kick that would have been a goal. However, a goal was conceded early in the second half. You can argue that it wasn't entirely her fault. It was a great play by Canada. It was coming given how much possession Canada did have in this game, but it nevertheless was a goal conceded. So B grade for the goalkeeper. I think that's fair for Barreras in this game. Defense, A-. While a goal was conceded, with how poorly Mexico's midfield played and that Canada had over 60% ball possession, you can argue that conceding a goal was inevitable. However, they do need to be careful during the last 20 minutes of games when players would, normally get tired, as they become more prone to mistakes and committing fouls and, of course, even getting frustrated. Karen Luna, who entered the game as a substitute, struggled to keep pace and defend. And in the 84th minute, she shoved the Canadian winger out of bounds and onto the pavement where the grass ended. This was a blatant foul where she straight up played the player, and the ball was nowhere close to either of the two. She should have been given a red card and sent off for this. She wasn't. And I don't think she even got a yellow card, so that was... Karen Luna dodged a bullet there. She got lucky there. But it is still inexcusable behavior on the field Luna needs to be careful of those kinds of actions, as they will not be forgiven by players or referees in any other games, and should it result in a red card in the future, it will cost her and the team. Keeping a calm, collective mentality is key, even in these tough moments where you're not playing well or struggling to keep up with the pace of the game. Outside of that, the defense played great and prevented Canada from scoring or having the time to get a shot off while in the area. The defense for Mexico won 78% of their tackles with a total of 11 tackles won. The defense also had a total of 19 clearances, 10 interceptions, and 8 shots blocked. They are the reason the game ended in a relatively good result rather than a fifth straight loss. Midfielders. D. The midfielders got completely outplayed, physically and technically. They were not able to pass the ball well or even hold possession of it for 3 seconds. They looked slow, unorganized, and out of their element throughout the entire game. Every time the ball ended up in the midfield, possession control went straight to Canada. This should be an F grade, honestly, but Lisbeth Ovalle saved the midfielder's performance. She saved the midfield's performance and the team in this game, quite frankly. The attacking midfielder took advantage of Canada's complacent defense on a counterattack, and she scored an amazing goal from outside the box. Ovalle in that moment put the team on her back. She is the heart and soul of the team and is Mexico's best player right now. Offensive front. C-. I will be generous and give a C- grade here, but it's not a good grade. One reason for this grade was, of course, Lisbeth Ovalle, who, as the attacking midfielder, scored the tying goal while playing more offensively and up front. Outside of that, offensively, Mexico did not do well in this game. Ordóñez once again had a non-existent game, but granted the midfield played so poorly that nobody really gave her any good passes or service. She did have 2 opportunities to push up with the ball, but again, nothing came of it. Camberos also did not have a good game and struggled to maintain possession when she did receive the ball. Right now, it doesn't look like either are good enough to play on the national team right now, as they have looked inexperienced and struggled in their recent performances for the team. It is early in the 4-year cycle. While they are inexperienced right now, maybe Pedro Lopez is trying to give them playing time to develop for the long run. Not calling up Mayra Pelayo was understandable, as I believe she is recovering from injury. But to be reluctant to call up Katie Martinez, who has been in great form this year with Club America, and put Ordóñez in, is slowly becoming more questionable. There must be something Lopez sees in both Ordóñez and Camberos that right now we do not. The question is, what does he see in them, and when will we see it on the field? Overall, though, a better result for the women's team in this game, a game that saw them face a lot of challenges, but they were able to tie the game and end their losing streak. The defense once again looks in great form. Now it's just a matter of really getting the midfield and offensive front working well and as a team. The next game will be against the United States July 13th, where they look to upset the US in back-to-back games. Well then, Andres from AA Sports, leave your comments down below. Like and subscribe to grow the Passion Project as well. And of course, stay tuned for more summer football content as I cover the UEFA Euro and the Copa America. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.